Ayubowan, and welcome to Anarkalli Live. And we are live from Orange County. Today, I'm going to be having a conversation with a true king, and God truly lives within him. He's inspirational, he's loving, charismatic, kind, and ever so gracious today to sit with us and tell us how he's been able to change so many lives, even of huge celebrities. So stay tuned and just stay watching, because he's about to change your life. With 2020 coming our way, what does Tim Storey have to tell us all? Ayubowan, Tim.
Ayubowan.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show. I'm so ecstatic to have you here. I mean, it's been so awaited, your arrival on our show. I've been telling my fans about it, and everyone's so excited in Sri Lanka. And I have to first acknowledge you on your charisma, on your elegance, your patience, and your amazingness, and for bringing so much of inspiration to all of us. And that is why I thought I have to have you on the show, because I want everyone at home who are watching to get to know the real you and what you bring and how inspiration lives within you.
Thank you very much.
As we're approaching a new year, I thought that we'd start off talking about change. And something I have noticed, being a human living on this earth, is that with change comes a lot of fear. Mm-hmm. And you are so confident. At a very young age, you came out and just were in front of thousands of people speaking and reaching people, changing lives without any hesitance or any fear. So I thought that I would open my questioning asking, how did you get this faith in not being fearful about confronting life?
I think one of the things is that change is inevitable. We're going to change all the time, okay? So you see little kids, they have momentum, they have energy, and they're not afraid of change. Right. They're excited about new things. And it's interesting to me that many times as we get older, when we hear that we have to change something up, it brings in a fear. So I can tell you how you can get better with this.
Right.
Number one, education. Yes. And number two, conversation. So when you get educated about the change that you need to make, and you have a real understanding, it brings an awareness where most likely you're not going to be so afraid because you're educated on that change.
Right.
Okay? The second is conversation. And when you begin to talk to somebody about, hey, listen, I'm thinking about moving here. What's it like?
Yes.
How was it for you? Was it hard to get used to that culture? Through the conversation, then it begins to omit that fear that was there. But the education, conversation are a must.
Yes. And then about change itself. The word itself has the stigma. People associate it with something that's going to bring them, grief or something scary. And change can be good.
Yes.
But how do you stay positive and not give in to a negative thought?
Okay, so we are changing at all times. The older you get, your body's going to change.
Yes.
Your energy might even change. Your relationship, if you have children, is most likely going to change. So as you're teaching, we need to adjust and adapt to change.
Yes.
Okay? All right, so here's how I look at change. I look at change as super positive, because there's three levels of living: almost, most, and utmost. Almost means not quite. Not quite, nearly, sort of. Okay? So there's a lot of people that are watching today that are stuck in an almost life.
Yes.
It could be in their physical body, in their mindset, in their grieving over past relationships. So they're in almost. But then there's a most level.
Yeah.
Okay? So most means you have hit the ceiling. So if I had a helium balloon today and I let it go, it would hit the ceiling and stop. utmost is beyond the ceiling.
Yes.
And that's one reason I like you. That's how you think.
Thank you.
No, I'm very like, in talking to you, I was like, okay, from the Miss Sri Lanka side, okay, to the whole beauty pageant side, to the businesswoman side, to the humanitarian side, right?
Thank you.
To the government side.
Thank you.
So you're a person, obviously, who decided not to just be almost, not just to be most, but to be utmost.
Right.
Utmost is I'm going to that doggone ceiling. That's how I think.
Yes. Go big or go home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing is, we were talking about inspiration and believing and what you create for yourself inside of your body. And something that I read in your book was that God created us to be large.
100%.
And then when we are large beings or large spirits on earth, then, you know, whatever we take in, whatever we breathe in, whatever we see, all these things create our own realities. And a lot of people go on about looking onto other people for inspiration. And they're following, in social media, influencers to find this inspiration. But they are losing sight of the inspiration that they have within them to be their best selves.
Okay. What a great way of saying it. So when you are flying in an airplane, and let's pretend you are landing in Paris.
Right.
Okay. As the plane is going down, the more it goes down, you start to see the buildings closer. Then you start to see cars. It's not until you're almost to the ground that you could see people walking.
Yeah.
You never see the people. You see the buildings, you see the cars, and it's not until you're almost hitting the ground that you see the people.
Right.
So there's a reason I say that. Okay? So here's people pounding their chest of their greatness, right? You can't even see them from an airplane.
Yeah.
You get my point?
Yeah. Yeah.
So my thinking is God is so powerful.
Yes.
He is utmost. And an utmost God did not create an almost child.
No.
And the Bible says that I am made in his image. Sorry, I went for that.
Yeah.
I believed it. When those Sunday school teachers told me that at 5, I bought into it. I bought into it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, thank you for all the little influencers that are influencing people. That's cool.
Yeah.
And all the people that are revolutionaries that I look up to that have done some amazing things, right?
Right.
Okay? I love all that.
Yes.
But if I can tap in to the supreme source, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, 100%. I truly believe that, you can't go wrong. Whatever, like, your faith is.
Yes.
Whoever your God is.
Right.
If you have faith in a higher power, and then also faith that you will do what's right within your faith, you can't go wrong.
Well, I'm seeing that happen with people.
Yeah.
And as a person that was raised a certain way in a certain religion, I've had to expand my mind to see that the world is full of so many types of people with so many types of beliefs that may not be exactly the same as the way that I was raised, okay? And so Oprah Winfrey, and then I love her so much.
Of course, you've worked together so many times.
But we're great friends as well. But she did a series called Belief that I was on. And in that series, I got to meet so many people from different walks of life, different faiths, different belief systems. And I saw what faith did do for their life. See, faith brings hope and expectation.
Yes.
Don't ever forget that.
Yes.
When you have faith, you have hope, and you have expectation.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
And movement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me why you said movement. I like what you said about that.
Because it creates a flow.
Okay.
And within faith, it can actually move any kind of obstacles because you are sort of relieving yourself of bearing the sole responsibility. And there's a lot of goodness in faith.
Yes.
So you look onto faith and then everything else travels.
Okay, can I give you a high five? Okay, because she just did a Tim Storey message. This is a famous message of mine of 20 years that you know not of.
No, I do not.
So watch this.
Yeah.
You said it so perfect.
Thank you.
When someone gets a revelation of something,
Right.
a revelation leads to conviction. So it drops from your mind into your soul.
Yes.
Revelation, conviction. Conviction always brings movement.
Yes.
So that was just so brilliant. See, it's true. Like I saw this guy one time. He used to be very chubby. And I said to him, I said, whoa, look at you. You lost all this weight. I said, how did you do it? He says, well, I had a heart attack and I realized I didn't want to die.
Oh, it's real.
So
okay.
I decided that I wanted to go on a diet so I could stay alive.
Of course.
So you understand what happened. The heart attack created a revelation that created conviction, created movement. So sometimes it's something challenging that happens to us, or sometimes it's just getting a revelation of maybe who God is.
Yes.
Yes.
Because sometimes if those things don't occur, we wouldn't actually do what we're supposed to be doing. And like you get stuck in what you're supposed to be thinking about moving away from, but you just get so comfortable and then you get shifted out of your comfort zone and you're like, oh, I can do this now.
Okay, how deep do you want to go today? Can we go a little deeper?
Let's go.
Okay. All right, so the average person is stuck.
Yes.
The average person is stagnant. And I've been saying for years, if you don't do something with life, life will do something with you.
Yes.
So the average person, life
that,
is
yeah.
pushing them around.
Yes.
Okay? So there's a lot of people watching today that life is pushing you around.
Yeah.
But if they get a revelation,
Yeah.
and that revelation leads to conviction, and then that conviction leads to movement,
Yes.
okay? But it's got to be a certain kind of movement. You ready for what's next?
Yes.
Okay. It's got to be power steps.
Yes.
Steps with purpose and intent. Purpose and intent. Purpose and intent. I don't just want movement. I want purpose and intent. That's one reason I like you. You got like fire coming out of you. I don't know where you got it. I don't know what happened. I don't know where your family comes from completely, but you have fire in you. So somehow you have this revelation that went to conviction, that went to movement, but not regular movement. Purpose, intent, purpose, intent, purpose, intent. So I'm not wondering and wandering.
Right.
I have purpose and intent on a daily basis.
Yes.
Yes.
And I also believe in the, the kinetic energy, the flow of the power of the intention too.
Yes, 100%.
Keeping it going. Like, for example, like you see, Usain Bolt, like the reason that he is like the fastest man is because like when he's running a race, he's thinking about his goal and his purpose, right?
Yes.
And he's putting the intention to win. He's not thinking about his wife not calling him or, about the, coffee man not recognizing him.
Yes.
He's actually on his purpose line doing what he's supposed to do. And he's flowing that energy and giving his life power. He's not letting life happen to him. He's creating a moment in life.
What are we going to do with all this information you have? You're good. And to bring up Usain Bolt, I've never heard one woman that I talked to in any interview. That was so awesome.
Of course.
Next, you're going to talk to me about cricket stars.
You have to come meet them. They're dying to meet you.
I look forward to it. I love cricket.
Yes.
Because, and I know that in that part of the world,
Yes.
that you guys have some of the greatest cricket
phenomenal.
players in the history, but for so long.
And such gentlemen too. Like
Yes.
they really play a good game,
Yeah.
fair game, and they're just treasures in our country.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I look forward to it.
Yes, very much. You must come. We're going to invite you over very soon
Yes.
to meet everyone. But talking about, the spirit of people and understanding and acknowledging people, just how you're acknowledging me and cricket and our country and people in general, I don't see that happen in life anymore, where
Yes.
people grant people who and what they are. They go about it another way.
Agree.
And why do you think this is? Why are people sort of being so insecure about their existence to not allow someone else to exist and be big in their own spheres?
Yes, because I think that it's a lack of understanding of who they are. See, if I'm comfortable with who I am, then I don't want to take away from who you are or what you're doing. I'm comfortable with who I am.
Yes.
So here's what I've always said. God's opinion of me makes man's opinion irrelevant.
Yes.
So if I really believe that the creator of the universe thinks that I'm grand, I'm good with that.
Yes.
So I can see a guy that says, like, I have, a $60 million airplane. I'm like, okay, that's great for them. That's
Right.
super great. Or I can do this, or I do that. See, that's the strange thing about my life, about life coaching celebrities, is that I've had some amazing houses, but then you go into some of these other houses, they're like $40 million, $50 million
Yes.
houses. They're at a whole other level.
Right.
There has never been one time where I got jealous and thought, I wish I had that. No, because that's their portion.
Yes.
I have my portion.
That's their happiness.
100%. So I was almost trained to look out for the other person rather than think about what's in it for me.
I love that.
I don't think about what's in it for me.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it's about when you do that too, you are actually building a stronger influence because you're gathering a group instead of
Yes.
ostracizing or keeping people away. And I think that like a lot of people, they think that if they have one friend, it's not enough. They need to have many friends. Or
Right.
like one home is not enough. They have to have many homes because they're actually using numbers
Yes.
to sort of be, their statistic for influence.
Yeah, I agree with that. Can I give you an example of this? Okay. So a lot of young people will come to me and they'll say, how do I become like a bigger star? I want to be a star.
Yeah.
Okay. So I said, number one, you don't want to try to be a celebrity
No.
because you're a celebrity already.
Yes.
The word celebrity means to be celebrated. Okay.
I love that.
So
Yeah.
today I celebrate you and you celebrate me.
Yes, indeed.
We're celebrities.
Yes, we are.
We just celebrate each other.
Glorified.
You get my point?
Yeah.
Okay, so if your grandmother celebrates you, you're a celebrity.
Yes.
If your dog celebrates you, you're a celebrity. So
And it's also an emotion, it's a feeling,
yes,
right? Yeah.
So, but what I tell them is that don't wait to chase the spotlight. I say build your spot, and the spotlight will come to your spot. I see this all the time. I see great chefs that nobody knew, but the spotlight came to their spot.
Yes.
I see great creatives like Pharrell Williams when he first started. The spotlight came to his spot.
Yes.
For your life,
Yeah.
the spotlight came to your spot. For my life, the spotlight came to my spot.
Right.
So the beginning of Tim's story was just me studying a lot. I am a studier. I like to study. So I started studying this whole idea of turning your setbacks to comebacks. I didn't know that was going to make me the comeback coach to the stars, right?
Yeah.
And all these other things. No, I was building my spot and the spotlight came to my spot.
Wow, that's amazing. And do you believe that you can have a number of comebacks? Like, a lot of people think you can just have one comeback and that's it, and you're done.
Yes. I think you need a lot of comeback tickets in life. You want to hear my illustration?
Yes.
Okay. So when I was a kid at Disneyland, they used to have levels of tickets, like an A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
Okay? And the better tickets would get you on the better rides.
Okay.
Like there was a ride called the Matterhorn. Okay. And so you had these tickets, and you're like, okay, but I only have so many tickets for the better rides.
Right.
And then the other tickets were for the not so good rides, right? So in life, you better have a lot of comeback tickets because you're going to need them.
Yeah.
Because there's many areas of your life. There's your physical,
Yes.
there's your mental, which clarity of mind. There's your spiritual, right? Your financial, your job, your family. So in one area of your life, everybody that's watching right now is going through a setback.
Of course.
in at least one area.
Of course.
If it's not them, it's someone in their family. If it's not them, it's their job. If it's not them, it's their finances.
Yes.
Something.
Yes.
You need comeback tickets.
Comeback tickets. And, you know, also grief. It just eludes you so much that you can't necessarily want to even use, even if you have comeback tickets.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it's not going to work. And you sort of condemn yourself or suppress your own self and your greatness by just annihilating yourself from the game. But then you blame other sources.
Yeah.
So how do you come out of that? How do you submerge?
Okay, so I'm not gonna give any like quick one-liners because I could.
Right.
But I think that there's so many good people that are stuck in a moment that they just can't get out of, which is a U2 song. So Bono sang that song, okay? And so I'm gonna roll the dice slow on this one because I love people that are struggling.
Yeah.
Because I understand struggle. So I do not believe that it's always so simple just to change your mindset. Because you got to understand something. A lot of people that are watching today, they were raised in a certain mindset where the ceiling was low of the way their mother talked to them or the way their father talked to them or the way their spouse talked to them, right? So I understand that some of the people watching, the ceiling was low. So now they got to realize this is not taking place anymore for me. I am tired of being tired of being regular, tired of being the way I am. You've got to get that way.
Raise the standards. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So number one, you become awake.
Yeah.
You become aware. And then thirdly, you got to partner with the right people.
Yes.
Okay. So that's one reason I'm glad that you're doing all the work that you're doing. Because as people are partnering with you, okay, through your own speeches, through your own talks, through your own writings, but also interviewing people like myself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
People are now partnering with power.
Yes.
And maybe helping to learn from someone else that knows a little bit more about what they're going through.
Yeah.
Because they've been through it already.
Yes, I've just been sort of tiptoeing around the subject, but you know, truth is because I want to help a lot of the youth in Sri Lanka because we have one of the highest suicide rates in the world.
Yes.
And it's due to unrequited love. It's due to failures in love. It's due to not being able to marry, you know, who you love, so on and forth. And it's simply because they feel that their grief or the pain is so strong.
Yeah.
And the way about it is to just hurt themselves.
Yeah.
And they won't be able to survive without that one person that is their outlet for happiness.
Yes.
And it's not another person's responsibility to make you happy.
Right.
It is your own responsibility.
100%. And that's one reason I want to come to your country.
Yes.
And I want to teach on setbacks to comebacks.
Yes.
And I want to talk about value, just like you just talked about. But you're exactly right, because just because you're struggling with, let's say, addiction, or you're struggling with depression, or you're struggling because somebody left you, right? Doesn't mean that it's the end of the road.
No.
Because if you take your life,
Yes.
you are taking away from all of us. Because you may be the person that comes up with a cure for cancer. Yeah. You may be the person that creates amazing projects that will change our lives.
Yeah.
See, there's so many people that I know that have struggled with depression and struggled with addiction and struggled with many things, but they allowed themselves to emerge again and come back, and they become real world changers.
Right.
Yes.
You have to be able to claim life.
Yes.
And I think that it's so valuable having you here because you, from your childhood to now, you know your purpose line and you've just been getting more and more into your creative process. And I see you as a master of arts, because there's an artistry to your delivery.
Thank you.
And that is the elegance that I was speaking of earlier. And
Yeah.
I feel that it needs to also be taken forth by the youth. So anyone who's watching now and they see you, and they would definitely want to be like you, and aspire to be like you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that, and thank you for that. But I think that all of us have our own uniqueness.
Yes.
And so I remember being in the studio with Kanye West one time, and he was working on a song that became
Amazing.
very, very popular called Stronger. But while we were in the studio, it was just me, him, it was an engineer, I think one other guy that was there. But I remember Will.I.Am from the Black Eyed Peas came in, and he says, hey, if I was you, I would do this to this song. And then a couple days later, we were in the studio, and Pharrell Williams came in, and he says, if I was you, I would do this to this song. And then he brought in Daft Punk, those guys that wear the helmets, and they did something to the song. And then we brought in Strings, they did something to the song. And I thought to myself, this is so awesome because it's a collaboration. And I think that the true power comes in what we're doing right now.
Yes.
We're collaborating.
Yes.
Where you get to use your gifts, I get to use my gifts.
Yes.
Then we collaborate with other people.
Yes.
And then we create brilliance.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a collective effort and force.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
Yes.
Moving to America and living here, I have noticed that there's a lot of homelessness and also like mental health issues as well as drug abuse.
Yes.
And it's very prevalent, and we don't see that too much in Asia.
Yeah.
I mean, poverty is there, but the amount of people who are homeless, a majority of them were not homeless.
Yes.
And then their lives just turned all the way down, and now they're just happy being where they are. How does someone become so full of elan for life and lust for life and vigor for life, and then just be so satisfied being in a lower position in life?
Okay. Great question. These are areas that I work in. So I work in prison reform. I also work with the homeless, and I also am part owner of recovery centers for addiction. So those are my areas.
Right.
If you have a nice house with a big yard, okay, and you have grass, you need to have someone take care of that grass, most likely every week, if not every other week.
Yes.
So you have to tend to your property, or even if you have a garden, you have to tend to your garden. Here's what I think what's happened in America. I think that so many people got so into their own lives
Right.
that they didn't pay attention to other people's lives that they were losing. And they were not tending to their own yard or tending to their own garden. And many times that's could be your own father, mother, sister, brother, cousin,
Right.
uncle, right?
Yes.
And so they're so excited about what's happening in their life that they're not tending to what's going on with other people. And then they saw that person slip through the cracks, end up in these dire situations. I don't think it had to be that dire,
Yes.
that terrible, had we paid attention to our lives but other people's lives.
100%.
And this is where I'm at in life,
Yes.
is that I always have my eyes open to who's hurting. And if we started opening our eyes more often to who's hurting around us, and as Mother Teresa said, just do that one little thing, okay?
Yeah.
If each one reached one, we'd begin to solve the problems.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes, completely.
I'm not asking you to touch 10,000 people right
No.
now. If each one reached one and started caring for someone, even in your own family, that is challenged in any area, it'll begin to resolve.
Like a butterfly effect.
100%.
Yeah. And at the same time, we always think that our problem is a unique problem. But once you start communicating and reaching out with education, you'd find that maybe the situations are slightly different.
Yes.
But the problems are all connected, and we all have a reality that we can share.
Yes.
Even if it's a different culture. There's so much to learn.
And if I could address this, if you don't mind, we see the big mountain of the challenge in America. You go through Los Angeles as you do, you see the
Yes.
homelessness everywhere. But can I tell you, there's some amazing programs out there.
Yeah.
You have someone like Caitlin Crosby, who was Oprah's one of her 50 top leading people that she thinks is amazing,
Yeah.
who's a great friend of mine. And she's doing great things. You have my friend Larea, who does healthy foods for the homeless.
Yes.
Okay, you have
Yeah.
the LA Mission, you have the Fred Jordan Mission. So there's a lot of different groups out there. I just did a homeless event in Laguna Beach that I spoke at just last month. So there's a lot of things that are happening. And I honestly believe 2 years down the line, 4 years down the line, 6 years down the line, 8 years down the line, 10 years down the line, we're going to see this begin to really, really, really change. I really believe it.
I believe
It's
it
step
too.
by step.
It's going to be amazing. I think we all have to, whatever we can do to promote and create this shift.
Yes.
We should all, empower that. 2020 is coming.
Yes.
And we all make those famous resolutions.
Yes. Yes.
And then we go, oh my God, we haven't been able to create anything that we wanted to do.
Yes.
And we go on different paths. And then some people just think to themselves, I'm never going to do this again, not going to think of a new year, new beginnings. I'm just going to create the same old pattern and the same old place. What do you have to say?
Well, the thing about the new year is good because what you can do is that you could say on December 31st to now January 1st, I can now turn the page.
Right.
Okay? No, turn the page and really think about it. So let's say if you went through a breakup, turn the page.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
If you weren't exercising, turn the page. If you weren't eating correctly, turn the page.
If you were not studying.
If you were not studying, turn the page. If you were feeling sorry for yourself, turn the page. So you can do this, okay? And it's not as difficult as people think.
Yes.
So I'm going to give you a couple points real quick.
Okay.
Here's what you do to change your life in 2020.
Okay.
Number one, you got to sit and get educated. So if you want to learn about finances, read books about finances. You want to learn about life, we got to keep watching you. You want to learn about a comeback, watch Tim's story.
Yeah.
Okay, so you sit and get educated. Then you stand in what you learned.
Yeah.
Stand, effort.
Yes.
And then each day you walk it out. You walk it out.
Yeah.
Walk it out is going to the gym.
Yeah.
Walk it out is studying again.
Yeah.
Walking out is doing something good for people.
Applying it.
Applying it. Perfect. So you sit, you stand, you walk it out, and then run is a position of power.
Yes.
Ooh, you're going to find yourself
Usain
running. Usain bolting. You're going to be bolting it in February, March, April. So right when you think that running is enough, no, you're going to get picked up and you're going to soar.
Yes.
See, that's what you see in people's lives. You're like, what happened to that person?
Just took off.
They just took off because they had to sit, they had to stand, they had to walk, they had to run, and then they had to soar.
It's a process.
It's a process.
Yeah.
And they're going to do it. Everybody who's watching today, no matter what you've been through, right? In 2020, it's a year to soar.
Yes.
Are you going to help them do it?
100%. We're
You
all
promise?
in it. Yes.
Okay.
It's going to be a collective effort. We're going to do this together.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so very much for being on the show. I absolutely enjoyed having you on, and I think that every single thing you said is with people, and they have just already embraced you. I can feel it.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
What a privilege.
Yes, we definitely are to be here, and it's so great to have such wise words from you, and we wish you so very well for the next year. I have a little something for you.
Ah.
Yes.
Gifts are good.
Yes, gifts are good, and there will be more.
Yes.
Oops, this is for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Yes.
And we look forward to having you again soon, and in Sri Lanka.
I can't wait to come.
Yes,
And
perfect.
have the food that you guys eat in Sri Lanka.
Yes, and you have to try some of my cooking and everyone else's cooking. We'll all host you, for
Thank
sure.
you very much.
Yes, thank you. And thank you so much for watching.